Hi, I wanted to respond to Eva Longoria's posting, Instagram video posting about the immigrants and the deportation problems and to support, let's see, she wants everybody to support Immigrant Defenders Law Center. There's another SEIUCA, California, I'm not sure what that one is, National Day Laborers Organizing Network, CHIRLA, and then another one is IDEPS, CA. So I'm not sure what these, all of these different, they're different, organizations who work on immigrant rights in a variety of manners. I think probably the labor ones is, of course, for more of a labor union than immigration law. So anyway, I did look up the, this is the Immigration Defenders Law Center. And let's see, they have revenues of 18 million, expenses 18.4 million, expenses 15.6 million, 10 million in assets. So they're, it looks like roughly they're spending what they bring in. Okay, so the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is on the IRS stuff. The top salary is 177K. Well, that's salary plus benefits, 177K. Then to 136K. They are advertising for jobs. There's 3 of them out there for jobs, 75 to 90,000K per year. So, multiply that by the others. I mean, this is not a huge, this is the norm now in the 10 million. Now, when they started, let's see, well, yeah, I don't have when they started, but I do have the tax record of 2015, which they were expenses, let's see, expenses were 650K and revenues was 1 million. Assets were 610K. And so it's pretty much increased progressively since there. So you see it's gone from less than 1 million. So again, multiply that. We're talking, gosh, what is it in the United States? We're talking about 2 million nonprofits. And, this is, I'm going to show it is, well, I've already demonstrated, and this is what I want Congresswoman Green to look into, is the, that was the DOJ, there was a DOJ congressional hearing on the efficiency on nonprofits. So I'm saying, yeah, okay, you were right, but now put your money where your mouth is and let's clean this up. Elon Musk, he's just at the tip of the iceberg. I'm sorry, Washington was created not as a playground for a bunch of prima donnas and overinflated ego PhDs and ESQs. And you know what? It was created to serve as the capital of this country and to serve the people. I mean, just in DC alone, we're still talking about metro area, 58,000 nonprofits. And as I demonstrate, using the example just of Andrew Mellon, Tim Mellon, the Mellon family. Mellon Foundation has $8 billion in assets. They spend, I think it's about $300 million each year towards the humanities, which is woke, illiberal stuff. I'm sorry, all of this, the farmers are not, falling apart. Everything's falling apart, yet the social media influencers and people, the celebrities are sitting pretty. Eva Longoria, 80 million her assets. Little lady, that's on the line. I mean, you have to be responsible for what you are espousing and what you are promoting and what you are saying and what you are doing. So that's that organization. And, this is, I hope, Congresswoman Green's office and all of the other congressional members I'm sending this to will look at this. So, yeah, I have to my notes around. Okay, so, Eva, she comes out and this is, oh gosh, look what's happening. They're deporting these people. There's another, she just did another posting 2 days ago interviewing the immigration nonprofit that IMDEF, and the head of that. So I'll post that with this. And, that continues on this discussion. So in this posting, Eva starts out, this gets my blood boiling. We can all agree no one wants criminals, no rapists, drug dealers, bad actors. That's not what's happening. What's happening, it's happening in B-Day, in birthday parties, in elementary schools, graduation, Home Depots. These are no criminals. Look, I am more than sure that there is lack of due process going on in here. This is what I have been fighting for 17 years. So don't preach to the choir on the lack of due process. My question is, why have you been saying shut up, stupid, shut up, stupid, shut up, stupid for 17 years? So, I'm not going to argue that there is a lack of due process and there are people that, are being raked over the coals in this system, and not fairly treated. Now, if they're here illegally, again, when I first went to France, I was illegal. I had to get out of the States. The paperwork wasn't in. I was like, I'll just go as a tourist and stay. I'm not going to steal anybody's job. I was a jeune fille au pair. I just, and I had to get out of this. I just had to get out of DC. I had gotten through college. I thought things would be better once I started working. I was like, no, this place is crazy. As I say, I was a princess with a P. I didn't know what my P was. Now I do. So, anyway, so, but in my defense, I'm saying, excuse me, I am fighting not only in my, naturalized country, France, fighting for due process and holding their constitution and democracy, but in the country of my sons, in Spain, they have a Spanish nationality as well. I don't have a Spanish nationality, but my property is there. And as I say, my sons are Spanish nationals. And then Colombia, we lived in Colombia. That's a, adopted country, if you will. As for me, Belgium. We lived there for 4 years. Every place that I lived, I didn't become a naturalized citizen, but still I was implicated in the community. I knew the people, and that's what globalization, that's why globalization is failing, because people do not do that. All they're doing is jet setting around and like Longoria. And, the Colombians that I know, all the celebrity Colombians, that's, Clemencia, Yanis, she's been back and forth between Spain and Bogota and Miami. Now, she was my neighbor in Madrid. She knows what I went through there the entire year. She's going to have to, in fact, I'm going to call her. Oh, and I just got recently a message from my other neighbor, Nicole King. She's British. She was there as well. One of the big issues here is precisely, I was arrested illegally. I was stopped. There was no cause. In fact, that's what I said. I'm not blowing into your machine. You had no right to arrest me. I was not doing anything illegal. You cannot stop somebody just like that. You're targeting me, and I'm not blowing into your machine until I get a lawyer here. Now, I still And this gets into how I built my case. It's war on domestic terrorism. The documents are there, and that was included in my recorriendo remedios. All of it was there, and that was something that I was very, very, very specific and very, very, boom that everywhere I could. I got all sorts of jurisprudence showing that this was bullshit. I won't get into all of that because it's a long story, but it is important. So why is even Longoria and all of these immigration people not interested in that and helping me all of these years on that issue? Because I've been fighting that from the beginning. And in fact, the thing came to my head was, oh, you're going to take me, hold me down because you cannot do this, was because in Louisiana growing up, they couldn't do it because of targeting. And that was a racially, motivated thing that had then spilled over and had a positive effect. The Dukes of Hazzard, this type of sheriffs exist. And they exist in Spain as well. Oh, all of the South. You got, what is that? It's not Parla, it's the sheriff of Coslado. And Parla happens. Most of the list is the same. That's where I am. So, I have given up everything, been separated from my sons. I mean, when Eva goes on about how, children being ripped from mothers' arms and all of that, I mean, I'm fit to be tied. I'm fit to be tied. I was thankful when I went through my whole divorce and custody battle. I mean, Amnesty International said that I had 0.25% chance of survival. Now, when I went to them and said, oh my God, help me, my lawyers are hanging me out to dry, the courts are raking me over the coals, the file, I mean, it's not just, how do I explain it? Because you got a whole bunch of paperwork in all of these different places you got to go that really doesn't have anything to do with that. But it's because of the divorce process. So that also, they're raking you over the coals there. I'm afraid he's going to kill me. I can't sleep at night. I know the cops are going to, well, his cousins on the local police force. My parents, my family have made it very clear that I'm on my own. I mean, this gets into cover up with John McCain, Bennett Johnston, Senator Bennett Johnston. I mean, I asked everybody, please just tell the frickin' consulate that they do have an obligation to assist me. And this is where I'm going and going and going and going. This is exactly, I explained, I don't know how many times, even if I started a nonprofit and you give me trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, I still do not have the legal power and authority to challenge a government or a court, wherever the judicial proceeding is happening, on problems of due process. The only ones that have the power and authority to do that is my sovereign government. And that's why this gets into human rights law. Everybody talks about human rights. They know nothing about it, is, the obligation to protect. Well, with that, they have that obligation to protect because I am giving up certain of my rights, like the right, if I want to sit around naked in the middle of the street for, I don't want to get dressed today. Well, no, if I live in a community, that's going to disrupt the community. And you can't do that. Well, if you live out in the forest all by yourself, you can dress when you want, you can, do whatever you want, you don't bother anybody else. But when you live in a community and you have, this gets back to caveman stuff, you have this, you're going to have a better survival rate. And the advantages that living in a community, you're going to be cooking better, just the different advantages that come with the division of labor and the different things. So you do give up some of your individual rights if you want to live in the community, but then that comes into the sovereign rights of a government and what legitimizes a government. And if you want to throw around all of this stuff of fighting for democracy, you got to understand this stuff. This is, we're not making this complicated. You really want to get into complicated, then give me a call. Uh, so, this thing, I'm really fit to be tied with her. No, these are not bad actors. I mean, the kid who was living here, well, the one before this person. He just came in here. We have yet to be seen what the issues will be. The kid living there, no, Latino, oh, no problem finding a job. Now I can barely keep a roof over my head because I'm white privilege. Yeah, thanks. I've been canceled by all. I keep on saying I'm not. I may be white, but I'm not privileged. Even Longoria is the one who was privileged. She even says that when the whole Desperate Housewives thing came up, they were like, oh, God, this is going to be great. Latinos are the big thing. You're going to get the doors open. She didn't have to sleep with her because she was Latino. Paradoxically, now you're white. You got to sleep your way to the top still. But the favored ones, the Latinos, and the Meghan Markle's, oh God, they get the doors open for them. So this kid can get a job. He's at 3 o'clock in the morning all the time, drunk, smashing things around, screaming, "I got a gun! I got a knife! I'm gonna kill you guys!" The cops. He would particularly, he'd get really angry with the girl across the hall. We were three women. This girl has moved out, young girl, he had the hots for her. And he's Latino. Her boyfriend is Black. She's Latino. So this is also where it gets into, wait a second. This is not, stop pulling out always the race card and stuff like that, because even between yourselves, I mean, and she, I mean, the only people who seem to like me these days in Washington are the poor Black men. They go, "Oh yeah, we know what you're talking about," and they're like, "Are you sure you're rich white?" um, it's like you're labeling everybody when it suits your purpose. This kid, he can get a job, and he's screaming and yelling. I mean, he told me right to my face, this is war and we're taking over this country. And I mean, the kids, as soon as this restaurant that I worked on with, and now it's Spanish, and the guy who runs it, Ruben, he used to work for Jose Andres. Um, And as soon as the general manager, he saw how competent and how knowledgeable I was about Spanish and French food, he stuck me in the kitchen. Took me from the hostess stand and stuck me in the kitchen, right next to the hot grill. I was like, oh, great. He wants me to, obviously he wanted me to quit, hoping I would just quit and leave, because also I'm watching. The United States used to be the most efficient, the best in customer service, and now it's a shit show. I mean, these kids, first they're driving me crazy, and then it's the typical, and I mean, come on. This went on with my siblings, and I saw it with the kids when I was the mom and the kids in the playground. The same bullying tactics. Oh, let's all gang up on this one person and then sit around and do nothing while they have to do all the work, because it's easier, just leave me alone and I'll do it myself. Because if you say, can you do this, can you do that, and that's another thing, I'm like, oh, you don't want me to be manager because I'm competent, but then you want me to do the manager's job. I mean, one of the poor guys who when I first was sent back to the kitchen, it's the how do you call it, the carry out area as well. He said, "Oh no, don't learn how to do that. Don't learn how to do that. If you learn how to do other jobs, they'll make you do." I'm like, oh my God, this is precisely, I mean, how do you work with this? No, you want to hire people. You want people who, okay, everybody is going to learn everybody's job. And I don't want to hear, although that wasn't my job or whatever. But if I see anybody around here, one person working and everybody else sitting on their phones, I'm going to get pissed off. And believe me, I got eyes in the back of my head. Don't think that just because I'm not, I mean, my Lord, what is going on is absolutely no different than, like parents with all sorts of rules. This is, your typical 19, well, even with my parents and when I was growing up, in respectable neighborhoods and stuff, and the parents are very, very, proper and stuff like that. Our kid, I mean, Nancy Reagan, just say no, just say no. Patty Davis even said, yeah. And as I'm smoking my joint and I'm counting all of the pharmaceutical, the Xanax or whatever, all the different pharmaceutical pills that my mom's popping. And Nancy Davis, the daughter Nancy, Patty of Nancy, even said when she'd be watching her mom and she would be watching commercials of Just Say No to Drugs by Nancy Reagan. She'd go, Mom, you should listen to that. But see, okay, what's her name? Joan Crawford's daughter. She wrote Mommy Dearest. Okay, Patty Davis, you wrote, your autobiography. Um, you know, that's another thing. Well, no, that's been done. Okay, thank you. That's been done. We've established this. This is not, Ethel Kennedy, the Oppenheimer book. Oh gosh. You know, let's stop just exposing this and saying this is not going to happen anymore under my watch. I mean, this is one of my things. Cher Denise, she does all of these book reviews. Let's see, Martha Stewart. I mean, you should watch the book reviews that she does. Martha Stewart, Ethel Kennedy, all of these different just horrific women exposed who, to the world. These are the role models. No, and see, I'm sorry, Longoria, this is what you are selling. All of this facade and cover up what's going on underneath. I saw on her Wikipedia page, she supports the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The Center for Missing and Exploited Children are in bed with trafficking children as the foster care. I mean, these are all facades, and what gets my goat is the Center for Missing and Exploited Children is an outgrowth of the Missing Child Act of 1985. The author of that was Congressman Clay Shaw from Florida. Jen Shaw was a friend of mine at Foxcroft. Now, Jen Shaw, she's canceled me and blocked me since the beginning. This was along with Bennett Johnston and John McCain. I sent a letter to Jen Shaw, to her father. Could her father please pick up the phone and call the consulate in Madrid? This is October 2007. And tell him, do your job. That's it. So all of this, give, Eva Longoria telling people to give to these nonprofits, where I told you these people are making $100,000 plus per year, and I can't even keep a roof over my head. I'm in debt just to and I mean, I owe a month to the landlord, and I'm living off credit card debt because they keep on getting, they won't give me. See, This is keep her hourly. See, this is another thing. Don't give her a managerial job because then I'll have a salary. I will be able to have some health insurance. I can't afford it now. You know, oh, because I don't have a PhD and because I opted out and I became a stay-at-home mom and because I won't drink or pass out or sell Kool-Aid. That's the only reason. I'm not some stupid imbecile bimbo. I mean, I get it all the time from the kids, the Latino kids that I'm working with. And I keep on explaining to everybody. And I have, oh, even ask anybody in my schoolmates or any of my teachers. I understood really complicated things and I could always explain it to my classmates and I could argue the points and chew up and spit out any of the professors that I had, no matter how intelligent they were. As my mom would say, you would argue with God. And I would just say, if he was wrong, I would. But, you know, also, most people, a lot of people, I guess, maybe, well, my mom also said, well, you wouldn't say much, but when you did start talking, you wouldn't stop. Well, yeah, because I'm not going to have much interesting to say. I'm not going to shut up and listen, right? See, Eva Longoria, all of you ladies who want to be up in front of in the limelight and stuff like that, uh, all you want is the limelight. Now, hell, if you work with me, I'll stick you up on the limelight because I don't like it. I mean, that's what's crazy with Clemency. I mean, God, oh, whatever. It's a shame, but you know, water under the bridge. It is what it is. Um, one thing I agree with Trump with. He said one of the good things about going through a hard time is you find out who your friends are. Yeah, I'm with you there, Trump. Unfortunately, they all jump ship, every single one of them. I mean, nobody has surprised me. I mean, I remember this is Doug Shar. He was complaining. He came to visit me just before I came back in Madrid, just before I came back to the States. So this is 2008. Um, and I mean, he thought it was funny. I told him everything I'd gone through in Spain. He thought it was funny, and of course, I haven't heard from him since. I mean, he found out that oh, they've chipped the prom queen, so he's going to cancel me, and that was real quick. But he's the one who told me, and I agreed. So you know, it's par for the course. He said, "Oh, well, you never know who your friends are because when you have money." You don't know if they're your friends because of the, you know, your mansion and all the fancy parties you give and the great parties you give, or because they're really your friends. And I was like, yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of like this is the advantage of being poor. Nobody's gonna like you because of the possessions that you have. Um, so, but I even said to him at the time, I said, wait a second, Doug, you're not rich. And he said, yeah, but my dad is. His father is Dwight Shar. His father's down in Florida. Now he's got some lawsuits for fraud down there, but he's still on the billion-dollar billionaire list. He still makes the billionaire list from Washington, D.C., although he's gone down. Doug told me, oh, yeah. How bad his father was. But anyway, oh, it's how bad the Kennedys were as well. But that was already, I'm like, that's old news. Yeah, I mean, I agree. People are your friends because they're there for the party. And that's one of the problems. I mean, the Europeans told me back in 1970s, they said, oh, you Americans, you're nice, but you're superficial. And I was like, well, I don't know. I was like, yeah, I think I've agreed. But I'm like you Europeans, you're just as bad. In fact, you're getting worse and worse. I think maybe the World War II and the destruction and you know, like the survival just to survive in the 60s and the 70s, till you got back on your feet was humbling to you. Maybe that's why God, you know, makes wars. So anyway, I digress. Yeah, well, I guess not so, because Eva Longoria, I wish people had more compassion for these issues. Yes, well, as I say, maybe I didn't digress. Oh, and this one was precious. So she goes on about, these immigrant workers, these people who were being deported. Now, this, of course, shows how this whole deportation, they're targeting the lower class. Because I'm like, wait a second, Washington has failed. We got to drain the World Bank. We got to drain the IMF, and those, like, most of those are foreigners. Oh God, the think tanks, because after they finish, fleecing taxpayers in the IMF and the World Bank, then they go and they get retirement, and they go and work for all of these think tanks here. And this is how the whole system is working, and all of these nonprofits and stuff. So again, they're ka-ching, ching, ching, and all of they're doing is producing hot air. Uh, hot air in their mouth and hot air up their ass. So they don't produce anything except cacophony and extremism and you know escalation of extremism, because the right, we keep on seeing the, you know, problem with Trump. Yeah, he's taken charge and he's doing a lot of things that have needed to be done for a long time. And he's taken charge. But if we don't assure due process, then this can become another, Holocaust, with the concentration camps and his people disappearing, and this MDEF. They had a case of somebody, they say, who disappeared. As I say, I'm not putting that in question, but I'm just putting in question the priorities of everybody here and why they're doing what they're doing. Um, and where have you been? I've been in the game for 17, 18, going on 18 years. There were people who had been at least 10 years or 15 years before me. Connie Valentine was the first that I know of in California. Now, she's passed away quite a few years ago. Ooh, there's a whole bunch of infighting to see who was going to replace her. See, if all of these ladies would work together, we wouldn't be here. Now, they won't work together, or the celebrities are making money off of this. So we depend on these industries of labor. These people provide, who feed us, who take care of us, and take care of our families and our children and our communities. We can't deny them as humans. We just can't. Okay. I mean, I have gone into this. I don't know. It's been several years ago. I think I came across this article, and I was like, yeah, exactly right. The homemakers' contribution to the GDP. Excuse me, GDP. The migration of women from the home doing work for free into labor markets where they are paid for this work ups your GDP by 30%. I'll put the link in here. Ups your GDP by 30%, but it's an artificial GDP. Your GDP really, it is just a measure that the economists have pulled out of the air, so they can manipulate and gaslight societies, because that work was before being done. I mean, this is one of the basis of this whole slavery stuff. I mean, today that was, no longer slaves, we freed the slaves. I'm like, no, wait a second. Oh God, some woman really got pissed off when I tried to explain to her that the feminist movement has taken away women's rights within the home and family completely, and is where your rights going to be tested. Your rights, in your home and family are going to be tested when You say, wait a second, I want to see the bank account. That is my money. Those are my assets. I want to see them. Oh no, but it's not in your name. It's in your husband's name. That doesn't matter. It's still in his in it's still my, my property. We can go into, civil law and all of this. It's still my property. That's where I want to see it. Well, no, you need to get a divorce. What? When they told me that, okay, I want an explanation why. Okay, I got to do what I got to do at the moment. And then also when you get into alimony, all of these different issues, that has just been, enabled for the gold digging whores and hardworking women who are entitled to joint property assets and a portion of the what was earned from their husband's income are getting shafted. I mean, it's too long to go into here. And I mean, I can speak hours and hours about this issue with facts and evidence to back me up and all sorts of reports. And all you got to do is go to my website. It's not stuff that I pull out of the air. I mean, I've done my homework. All I've done while I've been partying is sitting here looking at all of the damn reports. So, they feed us and oh God, when I got back to the States in 2009, working at the IMF Family Association, and all of these wives are coming and going, oh yeah, I'm looking for a husband, a job, and a nanny. I was like, a nanny? We want to have nannies in the United States. Mary Poppins was a nanny. Like England had, nannies in the time of the Victorian era. And yeah, in Colombia, they had nannies and everybody had their nannies. And I thought that was just like so pretentious. Magalone Orleans, that's one of the best examples of all of that stuff. She got rid of the nanny that she had because her kids loved her more than the mom. Like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. And she actually spent time with the kids. That was the same thing. When she said, do you want her nanny? Because I was shocked first to find out that she was getting rid of her. And then somebody said, no, she's jealous. So it's like, oh, yeah, okay. But then I told her, I said, I'm sorry. I'm the one who's been I need somebody to clean the toilets. I mean, I've treated everybody with respect. In fact, I always had these poor women calling me and saying, can you recommend somebody for work? They said, well, and I didn't have a revolving door because everybody in my house was treated with respect. In fact, that was one of the things that really upset me in Colombia, was the way that they, treated the lower classes. When they called me Doña or Su Merced, I was like, what? And then James, my bodyguard, he said, no, they can't call you by your first name. I said, okay, Senora, if you have to, but like Su Merced, I was like, is this an insult? What are they saying? Yeah, so this whole stuff, see, this gets into Nancy Eisenberg's book, White Trash, for the 400 years of untold story of the America. So White Trash. So, this is also just like the Americans in the United States need to confront their Anglican, their British past, and, oh God, what they used to do, draw and quarter them and hang them up, and they got their entrails like hanging, swinging there to tell the pirates, you better not be a pirate. I mean, ooh, and the lashings that, there's a very, very, very dark past and a very violent past. Northern Europe needs to, confront as much as Southern Europe, and as the conquistadors and stuff. This is also Eva Longoria. When I looked into her ancestry on ancestry.com, I was able to put together, God, it took me 2 days, but it's interesting because it goes into Asturias. and the conquistadors. And this goes back, I went back to 890, I think it was. And well, goes the Longoria family was there, the Quintana family, what was the others? There's a couple other families. Oh, and what was interesting, and this is a cousin of Eva Longoria in Texas now. Her cousin is married to an Alcala, and Alcala is the Alcala family. That's my ex-husband in Spain. Now, and this is again a conquistador, and where this whole, the families that did come in 1600, well, like, you guys dropped the ball. I mean, okay, granted, the Spanish conquistadors were not like the democratic principles, and a far cry from the Puritans and stuff, and much more like the south of like the Carolinas, Virginia, the Carolinas, which were royal charters and were supposed to be developed and were created to make money for merchants and for trading, and the whole triangle there and the Atlantic. But they were to make money. They were money making endeavors. The Puritans and the Quakers moving to the north were freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of religion. So those were ideological, migrations. And this is, like, we're all immigrants. Yeah. Like Longoria. But, what are you doing today? This is where I keep on pulling. I keep on going through all of these families. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord. I went through Capote Swans. I'm still not finished with that. I mean, the feud, the TV series Feud, is just the beginning. See, why doesn't Hollywood and Eva Longoria, instead of her, oh, God, the thing that she did with CNN about visiting Spain and visiting Mexico and the food and all of this stuff. Everybody, I mean, you guys are beating dead horses in Hollywood. You are pulling out more crap. That's another thing. You just want more money to throw into your Hollywood. You're wasting money on crap uh, films, and propaganda. I mean, what is the Flaming Hot that Eva Longoria did? I mean, you talk about your propaganda. See, I posted on here, what did I say? That I wasn't going to see her in court. And, I'm sure, oh, it's just one of those crazy fans out there, these crazy people out there who, just say anything. Oh, maybe the FBI should go and check into them and they're dangerous or something. I mean, just brush off anybody that you don't want. And that's, you guys are locking yourselves farther and farther up in ivory towers. I mean, I've known some of you people personally. I went to school with some of you people. Okay, well, I don't know you personally, but here, Corpus Christi, Coy Durham, she's Foxcroft. So, see, the world is a very, very, very small place. And oh, Lord, Coy Durham, she really, really, really screwed you all over. Corpus Christi and all of you little models who've made it big, because Corpus Christi even has a Wikipedia page for all of you models and celebrities from Corpus Christi. So what have become of you? What's her name? Cheryl. Oh, what was it? Farrah Fawcett. She's from there. I mean, I think she was the original. I think all of the other little girls from Corpus Christi followed her lead to Hollywood. Yeah, look how she ended up. I mean, like this whole thing of I want to be a celebrity, and yeah, most of you guys end up dead on drugs or whatever. So, this whole thing, I'm liberating women by becoming movie stars and high powered lawyers who scam the system, just like the men have been doing for a long time. Yeah, sorry, I don't see how that's liberating women. Um, and then keep telling us we should have come here, that these people should have come here legally. Uh, they should just get in line. There is no line. There have been people waiting for 25 years to become American citizens. You know, everybody should be able to come to the United States and become an American citizen. Why should everybody be able to come to the United States and become an American citizen? I mean, where is it written that this is the land of milk and honey for every single person on the planet? And what, you're gonna leave the rest of the planet empty? You know, you guys, like, you're on there was recently on the View, and I think maybe Whoopi Goldberg has even like got been dropped because of this. I'm not positive. I'll have to check into that. Of, you know, like, wait a second, you guys, you know, still the same dialogue of the 1950s and 60s civil rights stuff of the oppressed, and, you know, we need to fight for our rights, and we're being, you know, we're the we have, you know, everybody else is gets preferential treatment, and we're downtrodden and oppressed, and like, then we have all of you billionaires oh, been involved in some real shady stuff. Oh gosh, see, this is where, my lord, you guys are even worse than your predecessors. So you're not proven that this is a, like, you're not proven your case of, let's open the doors in you white people's country to let all of these minorities come in and give them the opportunities that your WASP and Anglican and Puritan worth ethic past has created. um and you know, a free-for-all, and just, you know, in your pockets, like, give me money, give me money. I mean, oh my god, I remember there was this one woman I worked with. What's her name? Is it Desiree or something? Oh gosh. Um, she was at Succotash. And the thing is, so she's from Africa. Her father was a friend, co-worker of Nelson Mandela. And I mean, this woman was raking it in. I mean, she was a drama queen, like, you can't believe. I was like, oh God, this marriage. She was in a recently married. And I was like, I don't think this is going to last. So the second, she needed a second bedroom in where they were renting. Um, and because she needs her, you know, dressing room, 2 hours to put on her makeup and to do her hair and everything in the every day. And I'm like, oh my God. And you know, she's, you know, she's just a prima donna and raking it in, and just, you know, yeah, she dressed up as a black Marilyn Monroe, and I have to, you know, she was a Marilyn Monroe, totally in the prima donna, and she's the hostess. This is Succotash, and I mean, you know, so uh, like, I can understand why they would her, but she was telling me about these, yeah, I don't know, these rappers who her clientele and stuff, and she'd be in the airplane with these rappers, obviously in a small airplane, because they've got the window open and they're throwing $100 bills out the window, and she thinks this is just fabulous. I'm horrified. I'm horrified. See, you know, Eva Longoria and all of these people, this is not who we are. This is not who we are. Yeah, you know, this is not who we are. You know, the whole, like, Puritan, I'm not suggesting that everybody should become like a dressed in gray, communist gray, or gray Puritan, where we have, because really it's kind of, you think about it, from the perspective of a society, structured society, and not thinking about the religious stuff. Well, communism, the Puritans, and even the, what do they call them, kibbutz in Israel, it's all kind of the same thing. But Jesus, everybody says, well, Jesus would have been a communist. Um, so yeah, I won't go. That goes into managerialism and Machiavellian capitalism versus Machiavellian capitalism, and um, or Adam Smith capitalism. So anyway, I digress. Uh, so where is it written that everybody should be able to come and just get citizenship porque la da la gana, and they're not then supposed to give anything back, or just here cash in? I mean, this is one of the issues, because I know when I was living in Colombia, I remember, how many Colombians, oh no, and Latin Americans, how many, oh no, we go to Miami to give birth. That way our children have American nationalities, and if anything happens in our countries, then they can all go to the US. I mean, I was like, wait a second. I mean, see, this whole thing, yeah, I was a stay-at-home mom. Or like Ingrid Betancourt, she's developing her career. Her sister, Astrid, Pilar Castaño. This is the mother of one of my son's best friend. Um, so, all of these women are, I don't know, did they think that I was like some like stupid trophy wife, oppressed? I I have no idea. I mean, really. Um, I mean, Clemencia should know better. We were neighbors in Bogota, and we were neighbors in Madrid. We became much, real friends in Madrid, um, because it was much more isolated life. I mean, my God, in Bogota, even at the end, I mean, Eva Longoria, all of this jet setting and all of this stuff that you want to do, because this is this, you can see this is the end goal, and this is, believe me, this is the problem with all of the why globalization is failing, because all you want to do is jet set around and, oh, I just dream. My dream is to arrive at the airport and just get on a flight. I'm going to go wherever, and I'm going to go. you know, like when I took the train, that I tell people now, I'm like, oh, and even the bus from Washington to New York, I was like, oh, take the bus, so much better. Like Washington, New York, forget the plane, because then the whole thing, now you got to take off shoes, that, forget it. But even to Chicago, okay, I didn't take the bus, I took the train. But yeah, I mean, God, I think about airports and hotels, and I'm just like, no, God, not another one. See, this is, I guess it's like if you grow up with money. I mean, I didn't grow up with money, but I didn't grow up poor. Um, I grew up, yes, privileged, but see, the thing is I never. I guess that's also the difference growing up in that environment with all of these people. They don't impress you. And maybe that's the whole point of restricting class movement, because then you get a free for all, because everybody wants to get in, all the gold diggers. As Princess Margaret said about the debutante balls in the 1950s, every tart is getting in. And Prince Philip said they're bloody daft. So, and that's why they were discontinued in 1958 by Queen Elizabeth. Then, so why were they brought back in the 1980s? I mean, Eva Longoria, she says that she worked for 3 years at Wendy's to save for a quinceañera. The quinceañera is the same debutante stuff. And I was a reluctant debutante here in Washington the year that Cornelia was Deb of the Decade or Deb of the Year. As then she became Deb of the Decade of the 80s. So anyway, I'm like, God, at least the $10,000 that my poor father wasted on that shit could be useful something. That's why I call myself, yes, I was a Deb, so now I can be a dowager. And, you know, Cornelia, you really want to claim who's queen of this country with your ancestry going back to Winston Churchill. Well, we can have that discussion. And Eva Longoria, let's have a little discussion, you and I, about, yeah, how the border keeps on moving. Your family didn't move, the border kept on moving. So where's your responsibility? Because, like, we are either predators or of this territory that we live in and that we have sovereignty, if you will, or we're there as caretakers. So, you know, you decide. You and your husband, oh gosh, now that you're married to a Mexican with a son with a Mexican and American nationality, you know, you should be listening to me. I have been explaining to the Federation of American Women's Clubs overseas for 17, 18 years now. Little ladies, what you are allowing to happen in family courts, your children, they have no rights. They're rightsless, stateless citizens. Now, FACO was started in 1931 by Carolyn Curtis Brown in order, you know, well, that she thought enlightened women united around the world could do much to promote world peace. Yes, the key word there is enlightened. Yeah, that's not happened. I mean, oh God, FACO. They're in bed with the UN and the IMF and the World Bank, and then the American Women's Clubs, their chapters, are just all a bunch of social climbing, cackling hens who want to get their picture taken with all the celebrities and all of the other expat wives clubs. That's why I came up with the idea for global expats after what happened to me in Bogota, with Bogota K, particularly. And this gets into Ingrid and Astrid and Betancourt. Astrid was Daniel Parfait, Ambassador Daniel Parfait's mistress at the time. Okay, so that was a whole, I mean, come on, Eva Longoria. Don't tell me that this wouldn't make a great Hollywood film. So don't tell me this is like of no interest. Well, now Daniel Parfait, he ended up, well, I guess Astrid's children later, they ended up married. But I think what happened was her young children cramped his style, so they got a divorce. His third wife, he then was ambassador to Mexico. And then he left there. He's in the private sector, but he's now in Mexico City with his third younger wife. You know, part of the Mexican community, an extranjero. So you're going to start deporting him? See, this is also the thing of like, we're going to shine that like this is only the poor immigration problem. It's like if we shine the light over there, everybody will look over there and they won't look here. Yeah, well, there is somebody looking, so this is the thing. I know nobody's been looking, but I have. So, no, here. I just ask you to educate yourself. Yes, Eva. Um, if you are out there, if you are out there yelling, good, they deserve this because they don't. Yeah, moms who stayed at home with their kids, victims of domestic violence who are being, you know, having their children taken away from them by the courts because they're trying to prevent their children from being raped, from being killed. I mean, when the moms are fleeing with these kids, it's really because the situation is life threatening. I mean, when the whole thing in Spain started, I saw this news article online, of course. And this was in, I don't know, Norway or Finland. This is Northern Europe. And some woman had drowned her children, 3 children, and then tried to commit suicide, and unfortunately was not successful. Poor woman, because of course she went to jail, prison. And somebody and some they were like, what? Just because she lost custody of her children. And somebody put in the chat, they said, no, what's happening in these cases is the abuse is so horrific that the kids are better off dead. And believe me, I've read through all of these reports. See, educate yourself. Yes, educate yourself, Eva, before you start supporting stuff. So these are hardworking people from my community, from your community. Hey, Longoria, your Tex-Mex community, in the rancheros and all of those people. Yeah, they're not jet setting with you to the Cannes Film Festival or any of that stuff. So you left that community behind, and you're now with the Hollywood jet set. And just like Cher Denise points this out with Brooke Shields criticizing Meghan Markle, and Cher Denise saying, I'm not sure if Brooke Shields would be so criticizing Meghan Markle. I mean, she did make a good point with Meghan Markle saying, oh, when I was 11 years old and doing this and that. And then Brooke Shields says, when I was 11 years old, I was playing a prostitute. That's where Hollywood, see, we got to look at how you guys have been promoting the sugar baby and the pedophilia for a long time. So this is your world. This is your people now, Eva. So from my community, and I think we need to have more compassion for them. I say again, more compassion for the farmers, your cousins and all of that stuff, and your hometown, or more compassion for the Hollywood prima donnas who you open their pharmacies and just pills just come toppling down on your head. I mean, you people, you keep on drug overdosing. Like, when you're gonna learn something's not right here? They just want to come here and work here and provide for their families. Well, and why can't they provide for their families in their home country? For those protesting out there, be safe, be respectful. And where are you? Turn your ivory tower. Now, if you really, really, really cared about these issues, and you'd be down in the trenches. And this is, oh gosh, who points this out? There's some people there's one guy, Hanson, is it? He's a PhD. He's in California. He says, listen to me, because he's California, but he lives out in the rural area. So he lives with real people. But of course, he's a PhD, and I forget if he goes to Berkeley or, one of those woke. And he says these people are just, out of touch with reality. And I agree with it. Yeah. Eva Longoria, come on. Be safe, respectful. I mean, come on. They're throwing gas masks out at these protesters who are getting really, really violent. Now, Wendy Murphy, when I gave my presentation at the Battered Mothers Custody Conference, that was 2015, and that's up to this point. I mean, that's 10 years ago. My work on violence against women as human rights violations. So, and I'd already, I've got the jurisprudence that challenges the Gonzalez Carreño versus Spain case. That's 2014. So why are all of these nonprofits not helping me? And we clean up the courts and we clean up the system. No. See, this is a huge, huge, huge industry. So there is, where's the money? These people, the violent protesters and stuff, and they're throwing out gas masks. I mean, everybody's getting everything on film these days. So that's out there. Um, where is this coming from? As I say, question needs to be asked everywhere that a question comes up, regardless if it's the right, left, or the little green men up there. Uh, so, gosh, how long have I made this thing now? Let's see. So, yeah, we already went through due process, the lawyers, the whole thing. I've seen white people posting, black people posting, like this is a multiracial, yeah, it is a multiracial issue. Due process, a multiracial issue. So why is it when it's been the white privilege, screw you? Okay, oh gosh. And then at the end, oh, I guess this was in the interview with the nonprofit, the immigrant nonprofit. At the end, oh my God, they kept on, Eva and the other woman, what's her name? They kept on, back and forth of, oh, and thank you so much. Oh, and thank you again. And then, getting into a spiel and getting into a spiel and the whole bit. Oh, it's Lindsay, wait, Topsilowski. So I think that's like Polish or, yeah, okay. It's American, but it's originally, I think, definitely Eastern European or something. Uh, so, oh gosh, and this gets into look at this is also where yeah, FACO in there, but also Marianne Seigart. Now, Marianne Seigart's great or great great grandfather was Rudy Singer. He's, if you will, the Andrew Mellon, who was the head of the Treasury Department and got blamed for the crash of 29 in the United States. Well, Rudy Singer is the one in Vienna who got blamed for that. Okay, we can go back and all of the, we can talk about the finance, sit down and have a discussion if you guys want to debate about that. But okay, nutshell. And then with the Singer family, he changed it to Seigart because that made it less Jewish. And then the Seigart family and how some of them were exterminated. They didn't make it out. Now, Marianne Seigart's is that her grandmother? Yeah, her grandmother. Um, she made it out to England. Her grandfather went to Israel. So her father was a human rights barrister and wrote this book when the lawful rights of mankind. Now, when I contacted Marianne Seigart about the problems, some issues here, it was about Bobby Kennedy's campaign, but it's all the same. She blocked. Now she went to Cobham Hall. She blocked my email. Now, if all of the, people over the graduates and alumni of Foxcroft were working, using their networks to challenge all of these problems, just like everybody at Cobham Hall. I mean, another alumni is Kaiser Wilhelm's great great granddaughter. So see Rudy Singer, Kaiser Wilhelm, rise to power. Yeah, when you get up into the upper echelons and stuff, it's all gets real connected real quick. And these networks, as who is that, Mario Puzo showed in his book, The Godfather, and the movies that were made after that, one of the points that he makes is, well, yeah, the Italian mob in the United States was really not doing anything different than what the WASPs were doing with the government and, in their government, and they had a monopoly. And yeah, that was true. But unfortunately, first off, I'm kind of like, well, maybe we should bring back the Italian mob because things were better under the Italian mob than what happened under the Latinos. Like what is that? The godmother, she was a woman in Miami, a drug lord woman in Miami. Oh gosh, things got real bad. I mean, that's when you had like decapitations and stuff like that. There's a video, Jorge Vargas. He got stopped, I guess, by the FBI. He was an accountant, but this is in the 70s, and he said when the FBI arrested me, I shook their hand and said, "Well, you guys caught me. We're coming here to arrest you. No, you got me. I broke the law." But he said back in the 50s, 60s, this was a business. You know, this is, we're looking at the long term. We don't want decapitations. We don't want any problems with the law. No, we're actually working with the law enforcement kind of behind the scenes, because sometimes when they can't get the evidence, but we know who did it, that we take care of those problems in our neighborhoods. I remember that story from my mother when I was a child in Arizona, in Tucson. So, okay, I'm not condoning any of this, but yeah, precisely. We've got all of these protection rackets. This has been a protection racket. Now, the disadvantage for everybody nowadays, all of the minorities, oh, we're just jumping in and playing the same games you guys have. It's like, well, yeah, but okay, this time around, we've got all of the international human rights conventions. Didn't have that before World War II. And we got RICO. I got RICO. I got Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. I can go after you on now. So yeah, we got some more laws. Now we just need lawyers. My Lord, you give me one of these nonprofits. You give me a small army of lawyers who knows how to check their ego at the door, and we're going to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and they're not going to catch us on any little technicality, because that's the oldest trick in the book. And they're getting, I mean, diligence had just walked out the door. So they catch them all the time on that shit. I go on saying, record keeping. The human resource people have made record keeping so bad, because the human resources are been taken over by the feminists, and record keeping is made so bad because that's what brought the Nazis down. The Germans, they kept really, really, really good records of everything. They were very, very, very efficient. So when after the war, it was that's why everybody was burning so much. But things did survive, and they got caught. So of course, if nobody keeps any records, there's no records of what's going on. That's why I've made sure that my letters, I'm like, okay, you're gonna ignore me. You're gonna ignore me if it's a 1-page letter. You're gonna ignore me if it's a 30-page letter. So I'll send you the 30-page. And then when I get to the on the line, I'm like, oh, sorry, bud, you were informed. I tell all of the victims, when I hit that send button, the email, I'm going, you've been served, because that's the game that they play with us. We've been served. These poor people who have no idea. Yeah, they come and get us as well in the middle of the night. Viva Longoria. This is not just the immigrants, and people disappear. This is not just the Democrats. So, this is, you can either wake up and smell the coffee and start really looking at what's happening here. And I'm bringing this to you. I'm not some stupid bimbo fan of yours who's just gone crazy, or somebody who hasn't done their research. I have done my research, and in fact, we can sit here and I can list the name of people who need to explain in a court of law or congressional hearing why they are doing what they are doing, or why they are not doing what they are doing. I mean, one of the people that I pull out is Tiffany Justice with Moms for Liberty. I'm the first to applaud the network that she's built, a lot of the structure that she's built, and all of that. Why does she ignore me? Barbara Stone, well, okay, Barbara Stone, she didn't totally ignore me. I helped her with the administrative stuff. I also want to know, Did we file with the International Criminal Courts on this or not? I mean, I paid her several $100s and money I do not have because, oh, she had to take it to the printer. I'm like, buy online a $30 printer and print it out yourself. Oh, no, like shit, you got to go and take this to a printer and all of these expenses and stuff. So if it wasn't filed with the International Criminal Courts, okay, so I mean, I don't give a shit about the money. I mean, my God, if we had gotten this into the international courts, you're talking about human rights, human rights, human rights. Everybody talks about human rights because making money off of it, starting with Ethel Kennedy and Eleanor Roosevelt. Okay, so food for thought, Eva. I hope you listen to this. I imagine you won't, but anyway, it is what it is, and I guess if you want to keep on, we can keep on, and we can see this in court. This is going to be better than the Diddy trials. I mean, I'm not keeping up on all of that, but oh, Megyn Kelly and Maureen Callahan, those two are just a piece of work. But they love to follow that stuff. So they are very informative. Anyway, have a nice day.